Hello guys and welcome back to Rossoneri TV. I'm Gio and I'm here for yet another news live stream to speak to you about the latest news and rumors currently going on at AC Milan. It is the transfer deadline day, and like many of you probably already guessed, yes, there is no signing made on this day. I spoke about it yesterday. Many people were saying, yes, but it's Galliani, you never know. He's capable of making those last minute signings. Well, would you take a look at that? He didn't do it today. He had already mentioned yesterday that the market was pretty much closed. And at the end of the day, I guess he kept his word because he didn't make any last minute signings. However, there are some interesting news that I did want to speak about today concerning Giovanni Simeone. But before we get into him, I just would like to give a confirmation that Rodrigo Ely has officially joined Deportivo Alaves, and this is something that I already mentioned yesterday. The player was very close to joining the La Liga club, and finally this has happened. It's official now. He has joined them on a 6-month loan deal until the end of June 2017. Like I said, I hope he gets some playing time because this season he didn't even get 1 minute of playing time at Milan. And honestly speaking, he's been just all around the place in recent years. You know, he's a player that he's been owned by Milan for a long time, but he's been playing in different clubs. Avellino, going back to Milan, now Deportivo Alaves, and I definitely hope that he gets some playing time here at least, and comes back to Milan in the summer better than ever. Whether he's going to be a prominent player for Milan in the future, that remains to be seen. My guess is probably not, since unless he breaks out, he has a breakout season and he comes out one of the best talents in the Serie A, then that's a different case. But in my opinion, I think all these loan deals, when a player has so many loan deals, I think you can pretty much say that his future is not set to be at the club just yet, and possibly a permanent move to another team will be a better option for this player. But like I said, let's hope that Rodrigo Ely gets playing time and returns stronger than ever. Now, I did want to speak about the news of the day, and of course, that is Giovanni Simeone. Now, a lot of reports have been mentioning today regarding Giovanni Simeone and his possible arrival to Milan in the summer. Now, when I first read these news, I wasn't too sure of what to believe and what really I understood from them, because from what I read, Tutto Mercato Web reported that Milan has an option to buy Giovanni Simeone in the summer of 2017. And to me, I really didn't understand, where did they get this option from? Is it really an option that has been confirmed by Genoa, or is it not? Well, I'm just going to break it down to you exactly what it is and what it seems to be, at least. First of all, the most important thing is that Genoa actually bought the entire player. And what I mean by that is, I think they only owned him 70% or something like that before from River Plate, and today they have officially acquired the remaining 30% or 40%, whatever it was. So he is 100% a Genoa player at the moment. Okay, we got that out of the way. And another thing we have to mention is, most likely, the only way that we will be able to get Simeone is if the Chinese do come into the business and guarantee us the transfer funds. Now, there's been some reports regarding transfer funds today from Gazzetta and other sources. Apparently, Milan is set to spend 100 to 150 million euros this summer if the Chinese takeover happens. Obviously, we have already heard of these reports in the past, but once again, it will be around this transfer sum if the Chinese do take over the club. And I'm pretty excited by it. Definitely, I'm very excited. That's a lot of money. You can definitely get some very good players with that. But it appears to be that if Milan and the Chinese don't take over the club, well, I don't think that we will be able to go for Giovanni Simeone. Now, he's been doing very, very good this season. He scored 10 goals already in the Serie A. And this is his first season in the Serie A. We also have to mention that. So not every player that comes to the Serie A in their first season is capable of saying that I scored 10 goals in my first season. And more than likely, he will be scoring even more goals by the end of the season. Now, he's an interesting player. A player that is much more involved in the play than Bacca, for example. And what I mean by that is that he participates in the team's actions. He's just not chilling there waiting for the ball and to shoot it. What I mean by that is that he goes around the team, he plays for the team. He's also very present in the penalty box, according to some reports. And he's also very strong physically and technically. And that's something that players now do, especially strikers nowadays, definitely need to have as characteristics. So it seems to be that Giovanni Simeone might be the main name in order to replace maybe Bacca as the striker. Unfortunately, Bacca hasn't had very good moments at Milan, especially this season. I mentioned it over the course of the week, over the course of the month, that he seems to be more distant from the team in general. Many times I see him like he's isolated from the rest of the teammates. I don't know what the real problem with that is, but one thing is for sure, he's always been that type of player that was waiting for the ball rather than getting it himself and creating chances or serving his teammates. Like Ibrahimovic, pretty much. He's pretty much the opposite of Ibrahimovic, if you ask me. All he has is the finishing. All he has is a right foot. His left foot, apparently, he cannot use it. So to me, maybe we need a younger option like Simeone in this team. Simeone is currently 21 years old, so very young. He can still do a lot, and he still has a lot to prove in the Serie A. And like I said, scoring 10 goals in your opening season in the Serie A is definitely a very good record to have. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to be saying, yes, but what do you really think about Simeone? Do you really think that he's going to be coming to Milan? His father is an Interista. He will never let his son join Milan, this and that. I think nowadays football and culture in general has evolved into something that it doesn't really matter where your faith is. You can just play for any club at the moment as long as they pay for the price. And if you take a look at that, even Belotti, for example, where many people say that he is a Milanista and so forth, he might be a Milanista, but look at the team he's playing for, Torino, which has nothing to do with Milan, and that's simply because Torino bought him. They were capable of paying for him. They were capable of putting a release clause on him, and it really doesn't matter at the end of the day which team you support, but it matters for the team that you are playing. And that could be the exact same case for Simeone. Like I said, there's so many players out there. It's not just Belotti, but there's so many players out there that definitely support another team, or at least their childhood team was someone else, some other team, and now they're playing for a completely different team than what the team that they were supporting initially was. So I think as long as Milan had the money, as long as they're interested in the player, Montella is really interested in Simeone apparently, and it's not the first time that we report about Simeone. I think I've actually spoken about him a bit earlier in the month regarding some reports. There were some reports saying that we might have gone for him, this and that, but technically speaking, we were never going to go for Simeone in the winter because he had just arrived to Genoa last summer. And it would make no complete sense for Genoa to loan him out to us or sell him to us in the winter after scoring 10 goals in the process. So to me, I think that this could be an option. Like I said, it could definitely be a realistic target for Milan. He's liked by the club. He's liked by Montella. If the right funds come in from the Chinese in the summer, we should be going for him. I think he could be a pretty good replacement for Bacca, if you ask me. But maybe you guys have different opinions. So let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about Simeone? If you've seen him this season, if you see what he's worth, is he capable of doing very good things in the Serie A? And let me know all of that in the comments section below. Also, do you think that he could be a proper replacement for Baka or not? That's another question that I'm curious to see what you guys think. So let me know in the comments section, and I'll be reading your comments for the next few minutes. Clayton says, Gio works so hard, guys, for every video, every day, so thank him and leave a like and subscribe. Thank you for that, Clayton. Yes, I am working day in and day out to bring out these videos on a daily basis. So if you guys do enjoy the content, please do exactly what Clayton said. Moving on, Clayton also says, Simeone, I don't think he will come, and if he comes, I don't think he will make that difference. I guess that's debatable. Personally, I don't really like judging players in their first year. Yes, he's done very good things so far for Genoa. Yes, he scored 10 goals. Yes, he's only played 6 months for them. He's already done all this. And I like it. I'm happy for the guy, you know. I'm happy that he's capable of doing such things. But like many other players, you know, I don't think you can just give a player like a proper indicator of what's to come in his career based on 6 months or based on 7 months. What I mean by this is that in the first 6 months, you might score 10 goals, and in the next 6 months, you know, you might not score any. And would you make the same judgment on the player or not? That's why, even for our own players, such as Locatelli or Donnarumma or whatever, it's good to look at these players in the long term before making proper judgments or making links to the next great superstars or calling them the next Pirlo, the next Buffon, and so forth. You know, they definitely have the talent, but what I mean is we need to give these guys time to show exactly what they could prove in the leagues before calling them the next big thing, if you know what I mean. Milan Butch says, the guy is good, but I want guaranteed players, not one season wonders. And that's exactly what I was saying. You know, you cannot just base a player on 6 months or whatever. You need to see the guy, what he's done overall. For example, players that have played 3-4 years in the Serie A. Maybe a guy like Keita Balde in Lazio that's been playing with them for a long time already, or at least a couple of years. And we know exactly what he can bring in, season out. Those are the type of players, those are the type of guarantees that we can most likely, or should at least, go after. Jamie Muscat says, Simeone is the best signing we can make in a couple of years now. He is strong, fast, and can finish, and has a better work rate than Baka, that's for sure. Completely agree on all your points. That's for sure. I honestly don't debate it at all. And like I said, he's only 21 years old. He could definitely be a very good player for the future. But to call him like the best thing in the Serie A or the next big thing in the Serie A, I personally wouldn't do it just yet. And also, the thing is, how much is Genoa really going to be asking for him if we do have an option to sign him in the summer? Are they just going to bombard us with a big price knowing that we have a lot of money to spend in the summer? Or are they going to be reasonable about it? These are all factors, considerations that we need to take into account when looking at these players. Carl Hibben says, hope he wouldn't be a replacement for Lapadula. I heard that Marseille are ready to spend 20 million in the summer. I've actually spoke about these rumors regarding Lapadula to Marseille, and these rumors were denied by Milan TV themselves. They are pretty much an official source of AC Milan, so if they denied it, I could pretty much say that we should rest assured that Lapadula won't be leaving Milan for 20 million or whatever the case really is. Moving on into some other comments from you guys. Milan Butch also says, if we do sign him, he would be a good backup. I want Lapadula to start. I would like to see Lapadula start as well, that's for sure. Copela Keza says, having Belotti and Simeone in our team would completely change the way we play, which I think would be a good thing, but just impossible. And you said it right there with that last word, impossible, because simply speaking, I don't think Milan will spend all that money on strikers. Belotti, of course, he has a 100 million release clause to clubs outside of Italy, so that doesn't apply to Milan. But still, Torino definitely won't let him go for cheap if we have to sign him. And then bringing in Simeone as well, it just wouldn't make sense to spend all the money on strikers. We definitely know that we need to buy midfielders. We have already a handful of wingers now that Deulofeu and Ocampos came in. It's not for sure that they will be remaining with us for next season, but I think our main focus with those 100, 150 million should be on a good center back, maybe a fullback, but definitely a midfielder. Definitely a midfielder. It's really been an area of our game in which we haven't made proper investments, proper purchases in so long, and I'm still not understanding what Milan are currently waiting for to make proper signings in that midfield. Siddharth says Simeone is a good buy. If we only have 100 million to spend, we need to distribute in each department. A new center back will come and a midfielder, and that's exactly what I just mentioned there. Sehun says, why does a club like Genoa find such a talented young Argentinian prospect from South America, but we can't? That's a real question I'm having. To be honest with you, I don't know. Milan do have scouts in South America, around Europe and so forth, but it seems like our scouting system in recent times has been pretty shit. I don't recall us ever scouting someone from another country that became the next big thing in a long time. But I definitely agree with you. I just don't understand how we're not capable of doing such things. And that's why sometimes people call Genoa our B team, because we always go to them when we have to get players. And maybe they're the ones doing the scouting and we're only the ones taking the players from them. Maybe that's Milan's strategy, as obviously they don't want to invest in anything. So they're like, Genoa, you guys do the dirty work. We'll take your players afterwards. Have I ever met Gattuso, says Siddharth? I've never met him, but I'm actually really... I need to tell you guys the story, because Gattuso actually came to Montreal a few years ago, and I still don't understand how I didn't get the possibility of meeting him. I regret it to this day, but definitely I could have met Gattuso. He was like 10 minutes away from me, and simply I couldn't make it that day. And still, it's a moment I regret to this day, but it's not for sure yet. I want to maybe release a little disclaimer, but there might be the possibility of meeting some Milan legends for me this year or next year. We're still in the works for it, but we'll keep you guys updated with everything going on for that. Milan Butch also says, did you hear about Santon to Milan rumors today? Yes, I heard about that. The player and Inter weren't convinced. So that's why I didn't mention anything about it, simply because there was nothing in it at all for Milan and the player himself. Who do I prefer, Simeone or Belotti? Probably Belotti, because the guy is probably the future of Italy. And I would definitely like to see Belotti, a Milanista at Milan. I think he would even work harder for us. Simply, I don't know. I would see Belotti as a better option if I had to choose between the two. Khaled says Paletta and Romagnoli are pretty good. Why should we buy defense? Well, I'm going to answer for you that question right away. First of all, Paletta wanted a contract extension, and Milan haven't yet given one to him. Also, he's only getting older. Third point that I can make, you can't just rely on Paletta and Romagnoli to be your center backs. You need another good center back to potentially start with either Romagnoli or Paletta. Simply speaking, yes, Paletta has done very good things this season, but the guy is 30 years old. His contract is expiring next summer. It's not yet for sure that Milan will be renewing it, so that's why we need another top center back. We definitely need someone that's a top center back, a top defender that could pair up with either Paletta or Romagnoli. What about Cigarini? Nothing doing about him. Diaco says Gustavo Gomez was a good scout in my opinion. He has a good future ahead. Yes, he does. He probably does have a good future ahead, but still, I don't see him as a top prospect that we got him. I think he has a good future. I think he's gonna have a decent future. But will he really have a lot of playing time in Milan at the future? I'm not sure. Could he become Romagnoli's partner in the future? I'm not sure. These are all things that will be answered in a while. And to be honest with you, Gustavo Gomez, he's not getting much playing time, obviously, for various reasons. And I think that could impact his chances in the future of really seeing if he's going to be a player possible for Milan or not in terms of getting a starting position. I want Milan to send Rugani from Juventus. That won't happen. Yes, we know that the Simeone family are Interistas. Ethan Nick says Bernadeschi, Belotti, and Van Dijk, and maybe Marquinhos. Yeah, maybe those could be all good options. I think if we do make at least 2 out of those 4 signings that you mentioned, I think that we're pretty much going to be good. I don't see the problem with any of those players at all. Clayton says Rugani is the future of Juve in Italy. As I said, he's not going to be leaving Juve. That's for sure. Still reading some of your comments here. Let me know what you guys think really about Simeone. Do you guys think that he could be a good option for Milan or not? Do you think that he's going to be that option that will send Bacca out of the door, maybe? And maybe, Milan might not even have to spend from those 150 million that they're willing to invest to buy Simeone. Maybe they might even invest in him by selling Bacca and use that money to buy him. That's also another option that we have to consider. Darmian, could he be our summer target? I don't think that Darmian is having a very good time at Manchester United from what I heard. I think he's pretty much slacking. He's not really performing quite well. But maybe, yes. Maybe Darmian could be an option. He's 27 years old. I always thought that he was a bit younger. Maybe a lot of people think that he's a bit younger. But maybe he could be an option to replace Abate on that right side. At the same time, we do have Calabria, so I'm not quite sure if Milan will be willing to spend money for another right back. But, I think that we have Calabria that's pretty good enough to play for Milan on that right side. I'm not talking about the left side because we all know that Calabria didn't perform quite well on that left side. But I think he could be, for the future at least, I think he could definitely gain a spot on that right side. And I don't really think that we should be going for Darmian. Musacchio is our main target for defense. He was our main target for defense last summer. You guys could recall when we didn't have enough money, surprise, surprise, to buy him. But I still think that he remains one of our primary targets for the center backs roles. What have I heard about Bonaventura? And I'm surprised no one has asked me about him just yet. Bonaventura will be ongoing his surgery tomorrow. He's in Finland. He will be doing it there. We still don't know any time frame of when he's really supposed to return. Like I said yesterday, it could be 2 months, it could be 3 months, it could be 4 months. He could be out for the season. That's what we know. I think either tomorrow or in the days to come, we'll know exactly the extent of his injury and how long he's gonna have to be out for. But many reports are saying that it's gonna be at least 3 months before we're going to be able to see Bonaventura again play for us. And unfortunately, I was talking really a lot about him yesterday. I was really sad. I was on so many levels, I couldn't wrap my head around it on how we lost Bonaventura practically for the rest of the season. Because he's really been our main player all season round. He's done so many good things for our club, and I think without him, we're definitely going to be taking a big blow. And I'm just worried that we're not going to be able to contribute as we should have been doing with Bonaventura, especially on those wings. All we can hope for at the moment is that Delufeo and Ocampos, when he gets a chance, they will be able to fill Bonaventura's shoes. I know it is very unlikely, but we have to have hope. Personally, I just cannot imagine another season without Europe for Milan. It's been way too many years without Europe, and this injury might really hurt our chances to make it, but I still believe that we can get something done. Like I said, we still have a lot of games to play. We still have 16, 17 games to play in the Serie A. But I think we should take it game by game. And this month of February that's coming up will be a very strong indicator of where we could finish at the end of the season. Maybe one or two more questions before I sign off. Dimitri says, I'm very disappointed of the current situation at Milan. I don't even care about Simeone. I can't wait for a Bunga Bunga president to sell the club. Otherwise, not much to talk about. The season is done. Well, I just spoke about what I think is going to happen for the rest of the season. I personally am not currently too happy about the situation. I haven't been happy about the situation in general. And this goes back to the fact that, we had a very good first half of the season. And even the Chinese, if you take a look at them, guys, if they wanted to really make sure that we were going to make it to Europe, they could have even spent some money in this transfer window. They could have said, okay, guys, here's 50, 60 million for you guys to spend this transfer window. We know we're going to buy the club anyways, but we want to make sure that we're going to be in Europe next season. So here's 50 to 60 million. Buy some players, buy some good backups. Make sure that you qualify to Europe for next season, and then we'll take care of the rest. They didn't do that. They said that they were going to wait until the Chinese takeover takes place in March before making any further investments. And unfortunately to me, I think that that's one of the major reasons as to why we're going to suffer from now on until the end of the season. And if the Chinese really cared about us, I think they could have gave us some money in January, like I said, to make sure that we were going to qualify, or at least had all the cards ready to qualify or possibly qualify for Europe. I'm not saying that it's not going to be done. I'm not saying that it's impossible at the moment. I still believe in our chances. Like I said, February will be a very good indicator of where we could finish this season. But I think the Chinese could have done something more themselves if they really wanted us to make it to Europe, or at least more convincingly. That's what I'm trying to say. Arjun says, Gio, any other Milan transfer update now in the last hours? No, there isn't. All I know is that Honda had an offer from All City, but he rejected it. He rejected it because he wasn't pleased by this offer, and he said he'd rather remain at Milan. And just to mention it once again, Galliani stated over and over again, the Mercato is closed. There shouldn't be any more signings from now on until the end of the transfer window, which should end in about an hour and a half, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, pretty much that won't happen. Amazir7 says, no, Gio, they asked to Berlusconi that they will give money for the winter, but with the condition that Mir Bailey decide who they will take, and they refused. Berlusconi refused. Those were reports, but I'm not quite sure if they were true, because honestly speaking, why would Berlusconi say no to money being given to him in order to invest? It's to me, it just doesn't make sense. It's not like he's taking it out of his money. Unfortunately, we do read a lot of reports and rumors every day, but we also have to use our mind sometimes and make some judgments based on our self-conscious, and we have to, evaluate certain reports sometimes because to me, it just doesn't make sense that Berlusconi would refuse money given to him to invest in. You know, it's not like he had to take it out of his own pocket. Anyways, we're going to see exactly what happens in the summer. Like I said, I hope we make some good signings. I hope the money arrives. All I definitely hope for is that the Chinese do take over the club in March, because if that doesn't happen, then I seriously don't know what's going to happen with this club for the future. But that's going to wrap it up for today, guys. Thank you all for joining me. Also, a big thank you for everyone that has been supporting these Transfer Daily videos all along the month of January for this winter transfer window. Even though the transfer window is going to be done in just a few hours, I would like to repeat that there will be daily videos coming in on Rossoneri TV on a daily basis, where we'll be talking about various subjects, not only about players potentially coming or leaving, but also other particular concerns currently going on at the club. On that note, once again, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Rossoneri TV to stay updated with everything going on at the club on a daily basis. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow for another video. This has been Gio, signing off. And as always, Forza Milan!